What if I told you that right now, you are much more than your body, your name, or your current memories? What if your essence, your true identity, existed long before this life and is interwoven with an immense cosmic purpose of deep mystery and transformation? Get ready to open the door to knowledge guarded in humanity's deepest records, the Akashic records revealed through the most documented medium in history, Edgar Cayce. Imagine accessing a source that transcends religions, dogmas, and beliefs, a source that speaks directly to the soul, unveiling the origins, mission, and destiny of every human being. What you're about to discover could transform everything you thought you knew about your existence. If you want to understand the soul's journey from its creation to the challenges of human experience, now's the time. But before we go on, I invite you to do something really important. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and hit like so we can unravel these hidden mysteries together and build a community that seeks the awakening of true consciousness. What you'll discover here could change how you see life forever. Ready to start? We're not talking about speculation or mystical fiction. Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, performed thousands of psychic readings throughout his life, all rigorously archived and analyzed. In these readings, he accessed the Akashic records, an ethereal archive where the thoughts, experiences, and memories of all humanity and its souls are recorded. From there, truths emerge that transcend traditional religions and unveil the deepest layers of human existence. It's not theory, it's not blind belief, it's documented, recorded, and analyzed information that lets us look beyond the veil of matter. But why does this matter to you? Because by understanding the soul's journey, you start to get that nothing in this life is random. That every experience, every challenge, and every relationship has a purpose. And that the soul is part of a grand spiritual experiment, voluntarily chosen even before birth. You're here to live a unique adventure that goes way beyond what the eyes can see. But hold on, before we dive into this deep narrative, I want you to imagine yourself as part of a select group. A community of seekers who, just like you, feel there's something more, something hidden, a truth waiting to be revealed. By subscribing and interacting, you strengthen this movement, creating connections that go beyond the virtual and reach the soul's dimension. This journey of discovery isn't just food for the mind, it's an awakening for the spirit. So let's open the book of the soul and see how it all began. According to Edgar Cayce, the soul's creation isn't a simple or recent event. It's part of a majestic wave of divine energy that emanated from the heart of the universe long before the formation of time and space as we know it. This wave generated entire families of souls, groups connected by deep spiritual ties, called soul families. Think of these families as a celestial constellation, where each star is a soul, sharing divine patterns, memories, and purposes. Every soul carries within it a blueprint, a divine plan etched into its essential memory, defining its original pattern, mission, and role in the cosmos. However, this memory isn't imprinted on our immediate material consciousness. It's like a subtle melody that plays in the depths of our being, sometimes forgotten, sometimes awakened by experiences, symbolism, and important encounters. Which makes us wonder, what's the true origin of our being, and what were we called to accomplish in this existence? Here's what will blow your mind. Before we incarnated into this dense material world, we as souls voluntarily chose to enter a unique experience, a great spiritual experiment. Why experiment? Because the soul consciously took the risk of plunging into a layer of reality where it almost forgets itself, its origins, and its divinity. It's an act of courage and surrender, like actors stepping into complex characters, ready to intensely play their parts without forgetting they are, in fact, actors. This forgetting is part of the plan for the experience to be authentic. Have you ever felt that something is missing, that there's an emptiness or a relentless search for meaning? This feeling isn't random. It's the echo of the soul's forgetting, the deep call to reconnect with who we truly are. Imagine the soul undergoing progressive tests in different forms, starting with existence in the elemental realms, minerals, plants, animals, exploring this density and materiality in various nuances until reaching the human condition, where all the complexities of consciousness manifest. That's why it's not surprising that many people feel an instinctive connection with crystals, forests, or animals. They're remnants of the soul's ancient experiences, as if nature speaks a language we recognize without using words. But this is where the big challenge comes in, the cycle of forgetting. What Cayce describes in depth is that this fall into materiality brings with it the partial loss of spiritual consciousness, a temporary forgetting that generates what we now call reincarnation. Here's the dramatic point. Reincarnation isn't punishment or penalty, quite the opposite. It's a soul rescue operation, a series of experiences meant to help the soul remember its origin, to reconnect with its original pattern. In this process, some souls get temporarily lost in this density, and others maintain their connection with the divine, emerging as masters, guides, and awakeners for others. Have you ever wondered why certain encounters in life seem beyond chance, as if they were destined, or why some relationships impact you so deeply, almost as if you're remembering something ancient? Everything fits into this journey of remembrance. The universe creates encounters, experiences, and relationships that act as mirrors and catalysts for the soul to awaken. And there's an internal mechanism, which Cayce calls the return pattern, that acts almost like a spiritual GPS, guiding the soul back to its divine source, beyond the game of life and death. Every life, every time, is an opportunity to remember a bit more of our true essence and to activate within us the balance between matter and spirit. Imagine awakening to be a bridge consciousness, someone who lives fully in the world of form, but with full awareness of their spiritual nature and divine mission. You're not just a passenger of time, you're a transformer, an agent of the divine in the world, called to express your uniqueness with courage and love. Before moving on to the next chapters of this narrative, I want you to review this for a moment. How do you feel when you think that your soul consciously chose this life for a mission that transcends the physical? Do you feel that connection, that curiosity, that desire to know more, to go beyond the apparent and the visible? If so, don't forget to leave your comment below. Share your thoughts and subscribe so that together we can grow on this journey of discovery and spiritual awakening. Your engagement here is the force that keeps this flame alive and this community thriving. Now, get ready, because the next part will delve into the fascinating story of how the soul experienced its first forms in matter, in a narrative that will reveal why many of us feel this nostalgia for nature, for the sacred, and for a deep connection with all beings. The adventure is just beginning. Get ready to go even deeper into this amazing journey that reveals the soul's mission and destiny according to Edgar Cayce. If you thought everything ended with birth, the body, or the life you're living now, you're about to discover that your soul has already gone through unimaginable phases to get here, phases that shaped your essence and carry the deepest memories of existence. And there's more. All of this is part of a divine plan, a sublime and meaningful experiment where every detail matters. Now let's uncover this fascinating story together. The story of the soul's creation. Imagine that, long before time and space as we know them, immense waves of energy emanated from the divine source, waves that gave rise to groups of souls intimately connected to each other, the so-called soul families. Each soul was created within a specific divine pattern, a blueprint that already contained its mission, personality, and even its evolutionary potential. We're not talking about abstract or vague concepts. This is documented information in Cayce's psychic readings, deeply detailed and consistent. These soul families hold a connection so true that it transcends time and incarnations. You, right now, might be reunited with these close souls in multiple lives, even if you're not aware of it in your physical life. This bond creates a deep sense of belonging and a call to rediscover who you truly are and with whom you resonate in the subtler layers of your being. But the soul's creation wasn't an isolated event. It was a harmonious and dynamic sequence, a sacred dance in the cosmos. The soul was created to experience, to grow through experiences that transcend simple material existence. You are not an accident in the universe. You are a sacred emanation of a cosmic trajectory. And you know what's incredible? This story doesn't end with creation. It unfolds into the great experiment the soul chose to live, the great spiritual experiment and forgetting. Here's the most fascinating and challenging part of this account. Although the soul was born with radiant light and divine memory, it decided, in a voluntary and conscious act, to immerse itself in the density of matter. Why? To have a real, authentic, and genuine experience, an experience where forgetting would be part of the process. Cayce explains this as a unique spiritual experiment where each soul agreed to play a role on a complex and difficult stage, the stage of the physical world. Imagine an actor, at the peak of their artistic commitment, who deeply embodies a character to live their pains, joys, and challenges without ever forgetting that they are, first and foremost, an actor. This is the perfect parallel for the soul. The soul descended from celestial heights to physical density, to the limitation of forms and senses, taking enormous risks, precisely to experience life as the great gift it is. But for the experiment to be real, the soul had to forget its origin. This forgetting isn't a flaw, but an essential tool, a veil that allows the spirit to fully immerse itself in matter. Have you ever felt confusion, emptiness, the sensation of being lost or separated? These feelings are echoes of that voluntary and temporary forgetting, which generates what we consider the cycle of reincarnation. It's not punishment nor bad luck. It's the necessary price to live a full and deep experience. Narrating the soul's first experiences in matter. Now we delve into a part that many don't know, the progressive trajectory of the soul in its manifestation in matter. Before human existence, the soul had experiences in other forms and realms. Cayce reveals that the soul, consciously, went through experiences on the elemental planes, mineral, vegetal, animal, each serving as a preparatory phase, a learning school for the complex human challenge. For example, existence in minerals like crystals is more than a primitive stage. Crystals have a vibrational structure and organization that resonate with the soul's memory, storing information, and facilitating states of healing and balance. If you feel an instinctive attraction to crystals, meditating with stones, or nature, this affinity reverberates these original experiences of the soul in matter. Similarly, plants carry subtle energies that speak directly to the spiritual unconscious, establishing an ancient and true connection. This progressive process of experimentation allowed the soul to develop essential qualities like patience, resilience, compassion, and awareness. The transition to the human condition was, therefore, a quantum leap, a gateway to an even deeper experience full of possibilities, with unprecedented challenges. The mastery of free will, moral consciousness, and spiritual awakening. But why do these memories remain so buried in the memory of the body and mind? Because making this journey requires forgetting to ensure the intensity of the experience. Without forgetting, the soul would constantly be pulled back to its origin, and the dynamics of matter would lose meaning. Therefore, the human journey is a constant conflict between remembering and forgetting, a paradox that defines the soul's adventure on this plane. The cycle of forgetting and the rescue of souls. Here we reach the dramatic heart of that great experiment, the cycle of forgetting and the need for rescue. Edgar Cayce was clear in stating that reincarnation isn't eternally a cycle of suffering, but rather a heroic system coordinated to help souls get back on the path of divine consciousness. At some point in this trajectory, many souls fall into the shadows of forgetting, temporarily losing connection with their true spiritual essence. This fall doesn't mean condemnation. It means a natural process within the experiment, but with a cost, increased density, pain, and illusion. The universe, however, doesn't abandon its creations. That's where the spiritual rescue operation comes in. Life after life, these beings have opportunities to reconnect their soul memories, to learn, grow, and finally regain their place back in the light. Reincarnation is the stage for these many attempts at remembrance and growth. And what's more, some souls maintain the connection and, acting as masters and guides, become beacons in the darkness for those who are still lost. That's why we still feel the presence of spiritual masters today, enlightened beings who carry within them the secrets of this return, who are here to facilitate the awakening of all humanity. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in repetitive patterns, as if your choices are controlled by something greater? Or that things you do, feel, or think are very old echoes, perhaps not belonging only to this life? These are clues to this dynamic of the cycle of forgetting and rescue. It's a struggle between the density of matter and the light of the soul, between forgetting and remembering, between the prison of form and the freedom of spirit. And we are all, neutrally, engaged in this process, some closer to awakening, others on the path of reunion. If you feel this inner calling, this existential restlessness, know that you're not alone. We are all here, working together, part of this divine plan. And that's why I want you to participate actively. Leave your comment, share your experiences and questions. Let's create this space for collective growth together. Now that you know the magnitude of the soul's creation, the daring spiritual experiment, and the first experiences in various forms of matter, get ready for a deeper dive into the surprising plot of the soul during its passage through the physical world. A cycle that mixes forgetting, challenges, and the constant hope of rescue. The cycle of forgetting and the rescue of souls. As the soul ventures into the density of matter, something crucial happens. Forgetting. Imagine a veil slowly descending over the soul's consciousness, hiding its divine origins, its true essence. This veil is part of the great experiment, allowing the soul to intensely live the physical reality without the constant interference of spiritual memory. But this fall into forgetting isn't a mistake or a punishment. It is, in fact, a necessary step for the authenticity of the experience. I ask you, have you ever felt, at some point in your life, an inexplicable emptiness? A feeling of being lost or disconnected from something greater? This phenomenon is a direct result of the fall and forgetting, a natural consequence of the soul's journey. However, this isn't a one-way street. As revealed by Cayce, reincarnation exists as a rescue operation, not a punitive cycle, but a great opportunity for learning and recovery. Each time a soul incarnates, it gets a chance to reconnect with its divine patterns, enhance its self-awareness, and remember its original mission. But there's a crucial point. Some souls, through their strength and connection, maintain clearer consciousness even within matter, emerging as masters, guides, and spiritual leaders who help other souls find their way back. You might recognize this pattern in your own life or in people you deeply admire. Do you feel it? Do you feel this struggle between forgetting and remembering, between getting lost and finding yourself? This duality is the engine of spiritual evolution. Understanding that reincarnation is a process of rescue and not an endless cycle of suffering completely transforms how we view our challenges and our relationships. We are all on a mission to remember, and even those who seem lost have this chance, because light always calls to itself. The journey of remembrance and the return to the divine. But what if I told you that within each of us there's an internal mechanism, a return pattern, that acts as a silent and relentless guide? That's what Cayce called the return pattern, a kind of spiritual GPS that persistently leads the soul toward full divine consciousness. Even in moments of darkness, even when all memory seems erased, this pattern keeps working. Here, the importance of relationships and encounters takes on a new dimension. Think of so-called twin flames, or spiritual family dynamics. They exist to help accelerate the process of remembrance. Reincarnation creates cycles where souls meet in different roles and contexts, facilitating mutual awakening. These encounters aren't mere chance. They're planned by the soul at deep levels to fulfill personal and collective missions. Have you noticed how certain people seem to touch your soul or activate very old memories? This isn't a coincidence. It's part of this cosmic dance, where each being is both teacher and student, protagonist and supporting character in the greater story of collective awakening. At this point in the journey, the challenge is to recognize these signs and deepen your commitment to yourself. The awakened soul begins to act as a bridge between matter and spirit, integrating human experiences with divine consciousness. It's a gradual process, requiring courage, self-knowledge, and unconditional love. The ultimate goal, as Cayce teaches us, is balance, to live fully in this physical and material reality, without losing connection with the sacred, with the eternal essence. It's in this synthesis that we become real agents of transformation, capable of expressing our unique divine nature and positively influencing the world around us. Empowering conclusion and call to interaction. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're at the forefront of a collective awakening that can transform not only your life but all existence around you. You now know that the soul is eternal, that it made a conscious choice for this journey, and that within you resides the power to return to your divine origin with fullness and consciousness. But this awakening only happens when we take responsibility for being protagonists of our own reality, when we choose to live as bridge consciousnesses, integrating the spiritual and the material, challenging forgetting, cultivating remembrance, and personal mission. Here, I invite you to be part of this true inner revolution by interacting with the community. Comment on which of these truths touched your heart, share your questions and experiences, and be sure to like and subscribe to receive more profound revelations that can continue to illuminate your journey. You are not alone. We are a great family of souls, connected by a greater purpose, traversing time and space, together on the mission to awaken and transform the world. Your voice matters here. Your engagement is the light that strengthens this collective journey. So, before we wrap up, I ask you, are you ready to take your place in this cosmic adventure? Are you willing to look within, retrieve your deepest memories, and celebrate the mission your soul chose even before incarnating? If the answer is yes, join us, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. After all, when we understand the true nature of the soul, nothing in our lives seems the same. Our perception of the world changes, the meaning of existence expands, and we see that we are part of something infinitely greater, more beautiful, and more powerful. Come with us on this journey. Share this video so that other souls who also seek the truth can find this space. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapters of this spiritual saga. Remember, the soul is never lost forever. It always finds its way back home. And you? Have you felt this calling? Tell me in the comments below. I really want to hear about your experience. Together, we'll walk this path of light and consciousness.